Hi, welcome to Arcas Radio, the podcast by Open Space Foundation. I am Maria Ventura and today I will be your host. On today's podcast, we will talk about religion, the difference between religions and how religions can live together in peace. We have a great podcast for you today, but first of all, let me introduce you my partners, Tim Louet from France and Alberto Redichieri from Italy. Bulgaria has a wide variety of different cultures all through history and even living together now. As a result, different religions are living together here. What surprised us more when we first arrived here was that in Sofia, for example, you can find a lot of churches all from different religions even in the same street. There's also a square where the churches from all religions living in Sofia share the same space. These mixed spaces for culture and religion amazed us, because we are used to different cultures with different and clearly separated spaces. So today, to discuss about this cultural and religious richness, we will have two special guests, Svetlana Alexova and Maxim Deltsev, with who we will speak in few minutes. Finally, to close today's podcast, we will hear people's opinion about this topic and how they live this coexistence. Let's start with Arcas Radio, Religion in Bulgaria, a state of play in 2019.
Of grey morning, grey evening, grey day, grey faces talking shit on TV. What is this? How can I believe we need nobody there in who we can trust? Tell me please who made this choice for us? Silence outside the stars boxed in cage. It's like our deepest fears are now a blind on you. Don't shout, the well because you know who I'm
To start with our topic today, and in order to know more about it, we have invited Svetlana Alexova to our studio to know more about her faith and how Protestants live their religion in Bulgaria.
So, are you a Protestant? Okay.
Yeah, I can say that I'm a Protestant.
Right.
I'm not so religious, and yeah, I'm a Protestant, but not in the hard type of.
Alright, but it's a personal choice to be a Protestant, or is something that you it came from your family or your roots?
Well, my parents are Protestants, so maybe it came naturally to me. But we don't go so often to church. I mean, I believe in God, and I think that I can communicate with Him whenever where I am. So I don't think personally that I have to go in that specific church and sing that specific songs. But yeah.
And for example, you have you celebrate holidays related with your religion and.
Well, I and my family actually celebrates all the Christian holidays,
Gathering together, maybe. And
yeah, we just get the whole family together and spend several hours together. It's not so different from the others. We just don't light candles, and we don't have iconic. This is just the more specific thing.
But what do you mean? Don't you like candles?
No, we just don't have candles in that kind of a church.
Alright, okay.
Yeah, we just think that our hope and beliefs will be heard without the need of candles. And
Okay. And what's the main difference between Orthodox, which is the majority of Christianity here in Bulgaria, and Protestant here in Bulgaria? What's the difference between celebration and the believing itself?
well, at least I know there are several types of Protestants. Some of them celebrate, for example, Saturdays. Some of them have different beliefs and more specific. So I can't say that I know more things about them, but just the most important thing is that we believe in God and what He creates, what He thinks for the people, what He wants us to be part of, and we don't have different saints. I mean, in the Orthodox Church they have many saints. We just don't have that kind. We believe in God. He creates this and this and this, and if one person have the ability to create something and to have more specific powers, let's say, this comes from God. So it all comes from Him, not from this person or this person.
From your perspective, how do you see the coexistence between religions here in Bulgaria?
In Sofia, in more specific, it's very different from the other countries and from the other big cities, because we have all kinds actually of beliefs and in religion. We have different types of church. of churches. We have, I think that the Bulgarians are very tolerant with the others, so it's not a problem for me.
And do you think this diversity of religions in the same space make people like more maybe open-minded in this sense? They enhance their culture in religion matters, or?
Well, yeah, actually, yeah. And for example, if I have the ability to know a person with a different type of religion than mine, it would be glad for me, and I would be very happy to tell me about that and to know something more specific. So yeah, I think that here is okay. We don't have problems, at least I know.
Yeah, yesterday we made other interviews with guys from about your age, I think. Most of the guys, or the people that we encounter by, maybe half of them claim that okay, the religion here is not a problem, but the other half they claim that okay, there is a problem between the religion present here in Bulgaria, between mostly Muslim and Orthodox and believers. For you now, the religion is a pretext to be against something in the society, against some immigrants, or against some people that think differently from you. What do you think about this kind of perception of differences in religion here in Bulgaria? It's a very tricky question, but it's very important.
Well, for example, my neighbors at the upper floor are from a Turkish family. They are Muslims, and actually we cooperate with each other maybe 15 years, and everything is perfect. I mean, there is a difference between each person. They are very kind. They are very helpful. They are very cheerful family. So me personally, I don't think that it's a problem for that culture and another culture. It's a problem that comes from the perspective of a mind and more specific situation, maybe.
Maybe some people have problems, but it's not a general situation, you mean?
Yeah, it's not general, and it's not a reason to cause problems and different battles.
Yes, another question, but it's not very into our topic. But okay, do you feel more Bulgarian now or European citizens?
In the few years, maybe European.
Maybe European.
Yeah, because everyone in the news and everywhere speaks about Europe, Europe this, Europe that, and actually we, to some extent, have forgotten where we come from and who we are. It's some kind of a globalization, I think.
Because your state has grown very fast because you're part of Europe from 2007.
Yes.
So in almost roughly 10 years, 10 years is very. You change your lifestyle completely in that sense, maybe, or maybe you a sort of forgotten your past in that case. So
yeah, we can say that, but for my generation it came naturally.
Let's go.
Yeah, so
because you never experienced the Russian influence in you.
No,
you
we just heard about it, but we don't have the touch with that kind of culture.
Yes, yeah, interesting.
Okay, so thank you for answering our questions, for participating.
Didn't take very long after meeting you for me to make a move. Less than a week. And I told myself not long before that I had to focus on school, and any involvement with a girl I would not seek. But when you showed up, all the self-promises and plans I made went straight out the window. I had the courage to start this, but I went about it all wrong. I'd never done it before, so I didn't know what I was doing. If I hadn't messed up so bad, if I would've made up my mind, if I would've accepted your offer instead of turning you a lie, if I wouldn't have let my doubts convince me that I knew best, if I wouldn't have listened to my head instead of what's in my chest, if I hadn't messed up so bad, if I'd taken more time to think, then I wouldn't be tearing my hair out, regretting every word I spoke. If I wouldn't have pressured you in the first place, maybe this would be fine. But I messed up so bad and I'm mad, cause now we'll never know. All because I messed up. Messed up. Messed up. Messed up. Messed up. All because I messed up. Had an image in my mind of where I wanted us to be, but I tried too much. Cause being inside of a couple was something I'd always wanted to see. But I don't know why I was in such a rush when you weren't ready. I wouldn't stop pushing you. Then when you came to get me, I backed off with some lame excuse. Now my heart is heavy, and I wish I had told the truth. But I guess now I'm living proof of the regret you feel when you know you messed up. If I hadn't messed up so bad, if I would've made up my mind, if I would've accepted your offer instead of turning you a lie, if I wouldn't have let my doubts convince me that I knew best, if I wouldn't have listened to my head instead of what's in my chest, if I hadn't messed up so bad, if I'd taken more time to think, then I wouldn't be tearing my hair out, regretting every word I spoke. If I wouldn't have pressured you in the first place, maybe this would be fine. But I messed up so bad and I'm mad, cause now we'll never know. All because I messed up, yeah. Messed up. All because I messed up. All because I messed up. Ooh, oh, oh.
Our next guest is Maxim Deltsev. He will talk about the Jewish community here in Sofia and how this religion lives in Bulgaria.
Nice to meet you, Maxim Deltsev. So can you just tell us about what you do here in Bulgaria, how long you've been in Bulgaria for, in Sofia? Just to get an overview, please.
So it's great to be with you, and my name is Maxim. I'm born here. I spent all my life here in Bulgaria, and I'm a part of the Jewish community of Bulgaria. I'm working as a Jewish educator in the community and also part of the religious community of the Jews here in Bulgaria.
Okay. And so what is it like to practice your religion here in Bulgaria?
So the Jewish community is very small in terms of numbers, and based on the general population of Bulgaria, from the 7 million Bulgarian citizens, we are around 7,000 people. So it's a small community, less than 1%, and it's a very compact community, mainly in the major cities. And because of that, we don't have so much of a spreading of religious life. We have one synagogue here in Sofia, one synagogue in Plovdiv, and most of the events and celebrations are either in the family setting or in a communal setting together, all of us. And we've since 1989, we've never experienced any kind of constraints or problems of expressing our religion. It's one of the recognized religions by the Bulgarian government. As we're part of the National Religious Council of the different denominations recognized. So it's in a political level we're recognized. In a practical level, we never had an experience of not being able to practice if we want.
Okay. And so have you ever come into conflict with any other religions here in Bulgaria? So you have any experience of such clashes?
So, in my opinion, the Bulgarian society is not really a religious society, and in terms of, I think during communism, it was most of the religious practice was changed, and I don't know how much observant the whole Bulgarian society was before communism, but definitely in the 90s and the last 25 years, we are still finding ourselves in what we believe. And that's true also for the Jewish community, and it's a big percentage of our community is very secularized, and there are Jewish national as an ethnicity they feel as a Jewish people, but as a religion the religion don't apply to them. So I've never had any problems with that, because I don't think that Bulgarian people are into the extremes of religion, and even people who are into religious life, they don't go to that extremes of saying, okay, we need to bring our tradition to the top. Of course, the Bulgarian people are predominantly Christian Orthodox, and that's the main in terms of main tradition, I think, in the Bulgarian society. But we never had any experience of something that probably can happen in Russia or in other places where the church is much more far to the right of seeing the other traditions. So a few years ago, together with the Mufti's office, we organized a series of discussions between topics of the three monotheistic religions, with the Islam and the Christianity, and it was a very nice initiative that showed that we can sit together and we can disagree without that being a problem, and not trying to convince any one of us that this is the true way, but to understand there are different paths of religious experience, and that's quite normal.
So you've lived only in Bulgaria, or have you lived?
I lived for a year in Jerusalem, in Israel, but yeah, most of my life I lived here in Bulgaria.
Okay. And do you have children?
Still not.
Still not. Okay. And if ever you do have children, will you transmit them the Jewish faith and encourage them to be religious as a Jewish person?
I believe that religion is a personal thing. So for sure, Jewish tradition is part of my home, and will be one day when I have children. Jewish tradition will be part of my home. But believing God and understanding what God and connection with God is something that I will connect my kids to, and I'll try to explain, but that will be their own choice of what they're gonna believe. And I really believe that there are that traditions can be much more on the level of society. That it's something that we keep together. It keeps us as a family. It keeps us as a community. It keeps us as a nation, and so on. But there are some personal things that people can need to fight for themselves, and that's why we're also not trying to convert people into Judaism as well. It's one of the principles of Judaism is we are not trying to go as a missionaries among the people, because we believe that if you find that connection with God and with traditions, you find our ways to us and not the other.
As you know, in Italy we have one of the biggest part of the Jewish community around Europe. They are, I know for sure that they are very concerned about the rising wave of anti-Semitism in Europe here nowadays. So, what do you think about these rising things in a political wave?
We are also concerned.
Yeah.
We're also concerned, but at the same time, we know that it's like many people are making a lot of comparison between nowadays and the 30s, and I personally think it's not the same. And we live in a era where the Jewish communities are much more well recognized, and in a political level, we have a very good relationship with the government. The president of Bulgaria is coming on one of our holidays on Hanukkah to the synagogue to light the candles with us. There is a national coordinator who is a deputy minister who is fighting anti-Semitism. So in that way, I think it's different. But on a level of education and on a level of people understanding what are the threats of far-right nationalism and anti-Semitism and xenophobia, I don't think we're doing a lot of things to help and promote. And we see hate speech all around us, and especially, I don't know about Italy, but here in Bulgaria, I think a lot of public figures feel safe to express hate speech easily, which for us is something we're trying not to tolerate, and we're trying to get around people from all different organizations that are feeling discrimination in any kind, because as a small community we understand that Jews in Bulgaria are not the first community that is under danger of discrimination and xenophobia. There are much bigger issues with other communities, and we are trying to connect with them and to unite with them and to fight all of that hate speech, because we know that's a sign of rising those things that we thought it's already buried in the history and not. But nowadays, we think it's also rising.
Do you make some cultural counterfeit about this rising intolerance?
We organize them. So one of the biggest events that we are really against is the Wolf March, the thing that's happening every February with people celebrating Bulgarian general who was a far-right general and with close ties to the Nazis, and it's a very nationalistic, and a lot of pro-neo-Nazi people come from all around Europe. So for many years we try to ban it. It happens that the Bulgarian law cannot ban, and the government cannot ban this march. So we decided that we can do something contrary on that. So on the celebration of the saving of the Bulgarian Jewry on the 10th of March, we organized a march for solidarity and tolerance, and we had a lot of different communities and from Bulgaria coming together for a small walk in the center of Sofia, saying that okay, we're not gonna go in the night with the torches, and but we can show that there is also light way that we can do it, and we can show that we are also able to bring more people to the street and to bring people that believe in those values. And I think that's one of the ways we're trying to fight, to show that we're not just some small Jewish community that is speaking online or speaking with declarations about it, but we can also be able to show that there are a lot of people in Bulgaria who believe in that values, and I really believe that still the far-right nationalism is not the main character of our society.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe far away, maybe over your character. Absolutely.
I hope so, at least.
Right. You have any questions?
So thank you for your participation.
Thank you.
After listening to these interesting interviews, we'll go with Team Duet to Sofia's mosque in order to find out something else about the Muslim religion and community in Bulgaria.
Hello and welcome to the Sofia Mosque, Banya Bashi. It's a Saturday morning, it's 11:43 and it's very sunny, and I'm currently standing outside this mosque and I've just been inside. I tried to interview a representative of the Muslim faith here, but unfortunately this volunteer who works on weekends, a woman who's aged about 50 or 55, did not want to allow me to tape this conversation that we had, but she was willing to answer some of my questions. And interestingly, or at least when we look at the timing of this moment where I entered the church, is one day ago in New Zealand, roughly 50 people were killed in a mosque by an Australian right-wing extremist. So we have to take into account this context, which is surely unwelcome, as all events of this nature are. So she basically had a first comment about interviews being potentially manipulated, although I did explain that I was from Open Space Foundation, a cultural association which only looked to understand the positioning and experience of different religions in Bulgaria. Well, she was obviously quite careful about where her words would be taped, and obviously we just met, and I think generally she would not be open to any sort of journalistic use of her words. So I will just report on a few things that were said in this brief exchange that we had. So my main question was the experience of people who are Muslim in Bulgaria, and to see if there were any potential moments where there was conflict between the two religions. And to this she answered that in fact religions coexist very peacefully in Bulgaria, and that she had not experienced, or at least maybe would not want to disclose, any moments of conflict between the Muslim faith and the others. So in a way, what she said was quite an idealistic view of how religions can coexist, but I'm willing to believe she was saying the truth. I mean, why would I question it, although it's always good to be critical. But so according to her words, the religions coexist peacefully, and in amongst her friends she has Jewish people, also Orthodox people who live side by side as this square of religious tolerance where the mosque, the church and the synagogue all sit almost side by side, would lead you to believe that yes, there is this peaceful coexistence. So in many ways, from this point, it's quite a positive view of how religions exist side by side in Bulgaria. So this is Timothy Duet from Open Space Foundation reporting on this brief interview I had with representative of the Islam faith in Sofia. So there we go. Unfortunately, I couldn't record, as I was saying earlier, I couldn't record this exchange. But nevertheless, I think it's interesting to have had this moment, and at least this person was willing to exchange, which does denote a certain openness and maybe does confirm her position and experience about how religions exist in Bulgaria, because by being open in her character and in her will to at least to have a conversation, albeit not being taped, which is perfectly understandable. Well, it does show that there's a certain willingness on at least the Islamic faith's behalf to be open about their religion and to not shun or shut out any person of a different faith or of a different background, non-religious background potentially, because I was there without specifying from where, or at least my religious beliefs, whatever they are. So yeah, there we go. Thank you for listening.
You gave me the letter. I guess it was July. You said we'll be better, but I don't know why. I should be so lonely. When I close my eyes, imagined you're mine. Sometimes I feel tired of my heavy thoughts. It's like start a fire when we're on the boat, and I'm on my own now, wasting my nights without you behind. I find these old letters with a heart round my name. I see it so clearly that you won't believe. I just wanna stay here. With you, my life.
Now it's time to go to the street and discover what citizens of Sofia really think about the coexistence of religions here in Bulgaria. Let's listen to them.
So how would you say your view of how religions, the different religions, coexist in Bulgaria? So the Orthodox religion, the Muslim faith, and the Jewish faith as well. What do you think the situation is currently? Do they coexist well, or is there any sources of conflict from your experience?
Okay, so in Bulgaria the religious situation is very complicated, alright, because during the socialism all religion was forbidden totally. And despite that, there were many people practicing Orthodox traditional rituals like baptizing children or some celebrations and stuff. But in general, religion doesn't go well with communism or with socialism or totalitarianism, whatever it was. And after that, the 90s came, and there was a huge boom of Protestant churches. So many American preachers, let's call them, came, and we had many Protestant churches established, like the Adventists, the Evangelists, the Mormons, and all these. And many people right now, especially outside of Sofia, are still involved in that. At the same time, the Orthodox became on the rise, especially after the beginning of 21st century, because it became more and more free and more emancipated to participate in that. And it got involved, especially in the late 5 to 6 years, I would say. It's very connected to the rise of nationalism and patriotism. So it's getting a bit like in Russia right now. If you have any impressions of Russia's political situation right now, Putin actually got onto the religion, so he grasped it and he uses it as a tool to use it for populism and to make people actually believe in his kind of totalitarian also regime that he places. So right now in Bulgaria, there are many people who are not actually religious, but they do the traditional rituals like the Easter and the Christmas and all that, and that goes together with a very right-wing movement.
So you said you don't like religion that much?
Yeah, because it's fake. I mean, like, I personally believe that there is some kind of mystic force that controls everything, but it's not named Jesus or Allah or Tangra and anything like that. Yeah, I believe in a force, but not that type that is called Christianity or Islam.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are your parents religious in any way?
Yeah.
Or your grandparents?
Yeah, they are very religious because I'm Greek, and the Greek people are very religious. I think Greece is the most religious country in the Balkans. But when I was a child, I believed in Christ, but when I grew up and opened my eyes a little bit, and I saw the truth. Yeah.
So you're living in Sofia because you're a student here?
Yeah, I'm a student here.
Okay, so you chose to leave Greece to come to Bulgaria for...
No. My parents are Greeks, but they live in Bulgaria. Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Bulgaria. Okay.
Yeah. So, a few years ago, I was part of a group like Nazis, and we beat the shit out of them. But then I grew up and became more peaceful. I mean, like, everyone is free to express their religion. Now I don't find any problem with that because we are free and we have the right to believe in anything, like this recycle bin. I can believe in that and nobody should judge me for that.
I think that the most of population here in Bulgaria are completely atheist. Or maybe they don't believe.
Yeah.
They don't believe so much in the religion. To be in the church every Sunday to pray God, but at the same time they take religion as an excuse to be against the religion. It's crazy because they I don't know here that you mentioned about the Turkish people that here in Bulgaria Turkish are hated by Bulgarian people.
Yeah.
But for what? For what?
for just to be Islamic or just to be Turkish? It's
Well, it's a very complicated question because I don't know if you know that, but in Bulgaria we were 5,000 years we were slaves to the Turkish people, and there is still scars that heals from this time. And I think that some part of that hatred is for the religion and the other part is from the history, but mainly the religion.
Are you religious, any of the two of you? Do you have a faith?
Well, not really. For me,
No?
I mean, I practice Buddhism with my wife, but it's not considered a religion, so it's more like a scientific practice, not a religion. So in this sense, I'm not religious, although I come from a Christian family.
Okay. And how about yourself?
I'm not religious, but let's say I believe on the the customs of the religion and how the people communicate and how to say the word, but
So
nevertheless
the
that
Orthodox religion, you...
no,
Or-
more like the Jewish traditions are the
Okay.
one that I like most, and just the way of being between the people.
Well, what do you like about the way, the way that the Jewish religion talks about how people should be living together?
I like the community that they build around themselves. Also, really, the community is the thing that is revealing.
And generally, what do you think about how the different religions coexist in Bulgaria? Do you think there's conflicts, or generally is it quite peaceful from what you experience?
Well, generally, I would say it's peaceful, but as I live here in Sofia or the Plovdiv, the second biggest city where I come from, it's I mean that's not a problem. I guess in some smaller villages where there are different religions and one of them is minority, it could be. I cannot say from experience, but I've heard that could be tense.
Yeah, because
let's
in
say.
smaller towns there's maybe less tolerance for different religions.
But generally, I would say we are pretty pretty relaxed about different religions living together and cooperating somehow. 'Cause I'd say we are not really religious people here. I mean, on papers probably, yeah. But like every second person would tell you that they're religious and they're Christian and so on. But I just don't see it. Like in reality.
But what do you think about that? Now, mostly of the people here, are actually atheists, but most of them they take religion as an excuse to be against immigrants. So it's a very tricky question. Maybe you can put in a philosophical fashion, but
honestly, I haven't thought about that. I mean, from the younger people, there are quite a few atheists or people that they say it out loud they're atheists, and but I don't see relation between being an atheist and like being against immigrants or I don't see the relation. I don't see it. So
okay. So,
could be,
could be.
We have listened to a wide variety of opinions there. The debate is on the stage. And you, what do you think about the situation of religion here in Bulgaria? You can share your opinion with us in social media at Open Space Foundation Facebook and Instagram accounts. This has been our program today. We'll come back next month with a new edition of Arcas Radio, this time to talk about a really important topic nowadays, the climate change.